This is Pittsburgh, where the Allegheny and Monongahela rivers join to form the Golden Triangle. Pittsburgh, famed for its steel mills and the shimmering glow of its blast furnaces. Pittsburgh that in 1960 gained new distinction, for the Pirates won their first pennant in 33 years. And they faced the same World Series foe they encountered back in 1927, the fabled New York Yankees. The Bombers again are favored as we open that historic Forbes Field that once was the stamping grounds of the immortal Honus Wagner. Typewriters already are clicking in the press box. The rival managers are the hardy perennial Casey Stengel of the Yankees. In 12 years with the Bombers, old Case has now made the series 10 times. And here's Danny Murtaugh of Pittsburgh, who's a newcomer to these fall classics. On hand early is Ford Frick, commissioner of baseball, who's the supreme authority in the conduct of the World Series. Vern Law, 20-game winner, opens for Pittsburgh. Art Ditmar, who tops Stengel's staff with 15 victories, goes for the Yankees. The umpires are ready for the call to play ball, but first there's the traditional national anthem. The Pirates take the field, and the first game of the series is underway. Tony Kubek watches Vern Law's first pitch. Law fires again, and Kubek slaps a ground ball toward third that caroms off the bag for a base hit. Don Hoke has no chance to make a play. Hector Lopez, after failing in an attempt to bunt, hits a ground ball past the mound to Mazeroski. He tags Kubek and throws to first for the double play. Roger Maris, the New York Yankee slugger, swings and misses on a high pitch that runs the count to 1-1. Law comes down again, but this time Maris connects, and it's a high arching drive to right field. The ball clears the screen easily and drops into the front part of the upper deck for a home run. There was never any doubt about this drive. The Yankees are out in front 1-0. They give Maris a happy reception. In the Pittsburgh half of the first inning, Bill Verdon walks, and Ditmar is off to a shaky start. Checks the runner at first. And there goes Verdon down to second. Yogi Berra's throw sails into center field, and Verdon races on to third. It's a stolen base and an error for failing to cover second. Dick Grote, an excellent right field hitter, proves it again when he deftly punches an outside pitch into the opposite field for a double. Verdon trots home with a tying run. The Yankee bullpen is alive. And out to the mound goes Casey Stengel to talk to his pitcher. But he allows Ditmar to stay in the game. Bob Skinner bounces a single over second, just out of reach of everybody. And Grote sprints home to put the Bucks in the lead 2-1. With one out, Skinner alertly steals second. This pays off as Roberto Clemente singles through the middle on another bouncing hit. It sends Skinner home, and the Pirates have a 3-1 lead. Stengel returns to the mound, and this time removes his starter and calls in Jim Coates, who ends the Pirate rally. In the Yankee second, with 2 men on first and second and 1 out, Richardson flies to Skinner, and Berra is doubled on second base at a very close play. With Dick Grote on first base and 1 out in the Pittsburgh third, Stewart lines a hard single to left field. Grote digs now for third base, but he underestimates the arm of Hector Lopez as well as the sharpness of Stewart's hit. Lopez cuts him down despite a desperate slide by the Pirate captain. is on the deck in the Yankee fourth as Mantle walks following a single by Maris. Law checks at second, then pitches. Berra hammers a terrific drive to right center field. Both Verdon and Clemente race for it, but Verdon hauls it down with a great running catch. Later in the inning, the Yankees had a run to make it 3-2. In the Pittsburgh fourth, coach retires Burgess but walks Don Hope. Mazeroski fouls off a pitch. It's strike two, but coach makes the next one too good, and Mazeroski slams along with the left. It sails over the scoreboard and drops among the trees of Shenley Park, a wallop of more than 400 feet. Here comes Mazeroski trotting home behind Hope, and the Pirates lead by 3 runs. The score is 5-2, and with a 3-run lead, Vern Law is pitching superbly. In the New York sixth, Mantle is called out on strikes. Then, after Berra flies out, Skowron is also a strikeout victim. Law retires the Heart of Murderers Row on just 11 pitches. In the Yankee eighth, with the Pirates leading 6-2, Lopez opens with a single to right, and the Bombers are trying to get a rally underway. Maris also singles, and Murtaugh regards the situation as too dangerous as he calls for Elroy Face, the biggest little rescuer in baseball. Law's injured ankle is apparently giving him trouble. First to confront Roy is the mighty Mantle. Face strikes him out. Now comes Berra with a 2-0 count on him. Yogi swings away and lifts a routine fly to Roberto Clemente in right. Skowron tries to salvage something for the Yankees, but he too strikes out. With 12 pitches, Face stops the heart of the Yankee batting order, along with a scoring threat. Elston Howard pinch hits in the ninth with 1 out, and Bobby Richardson on first. A swing and a drive to the outside in right field over the right field screen for a home run, which scores Richardson ahead of him to cut the Pirate lead to 6-4. The Yankees feel they're back in the ballgame. Tony Kubek singles to center, and they seem even more certain of it. Face doesn't appear to be too disturbed as he calmly works on Lopez, who slaps the ball to Mazeroski. It's a double play. Mazeroski grope to Stewart, and the Pirates win 6-4. The Bucks swarm around Face to congratulate him on his plucky relief hurling, while the defeated Yankees trudge silently back to their dressing room. Rain threatens the second game, but fortunately it stops in time. Del Webb and Dan Topping, co-owners of the Yankees, appear happy and confident. The championship record of the Bombers is something of which they are understandably proud. And so it's friend against Turley in game 2. And with Bob Friend on the mound, the Yankees start rolling as Kubek flips a little pop fly into left field. It gives him an opening hit in each game so far. Kubek tries to catch the Pirates off guard as he sprints for second. But Burgess fires to Mazeroski, and Tony is out on the first attempted steal by the Yankees in the series. Casey doesn't appear too happy about it. With Fred Green pitching in the fifth, Maris is on first, and the Yankees are leading 3-1. Mickey Mantle levels on one for a homer to right field, scoring Maris ahead of him. It's number 12 for Mantle in World Series play, breaking a previous tie with Duke Snider and putting him only 3 behind Babe Ruth, the greatest slugger of them all. The Yankee margin is now 5-1. Elston Howard blasts open the sixth with a prodigious triple that crashes off the screen around the light tower in right center. Verdon almost seems to scale the wall in a valiant but futile attempt for the ball. Richardson lines a double to left as the Bombers appear in an explosive mood. And Howard trots home from third to extend the score to 6-1. That's all for Fred Green. Danny Murtaugh signals for Clem Levine. It's nothing new for him, for as a former Dodger, he has faced the Yankees in other World Series. Berra shows no respect. Yogi singles with the bases loaded, scoring McDougal and Kubek. Because of an intervening hit and an error, there are now 4 runs across an inning with 2 men still on base. Skowron singles to keep the Yankees on the rampage. Maris jogs home and Berra gallops to third, and the Bombers are bombing 10-1. Here is Murtaugh back on the mound for another pitching change. He summons George Witt, a young right-hander who manages to get the side out at the expense of 2 more runs, which makes it a 7-run inning for the Yankees and a bulging 12-1 margin. Joe Gibbon is pitching for Pittsburgh in the 7th. 2 on and 1 out as Mantle rockets a tremendous drive to right center field. Verdon goes back, and then watches, of course, in utter amazement as the ball sails high over the 436-foot sign. No other right-handed batter ever cleared the wall at that point. 3 more runs cross the plate on this blast. After adding another run in the 9th, the Yanks lead 16-1. Meanwhile, Turley has allowed 13 hits in 8 1/3 innings, but has scattered them very effectively until the 9th. And with 2 runs across, Stengel removes Bullet Bob and brings in southpaw Bobby Shantz, the clever little curveball artist who relieved in 42 games this season. Shantz into the stretch, gets set. And Don Hoke hits a comebacker. Bobby turns it into a double play. New York wins it 16-3, and the series is tied at 1-all. Pittsburgh fans are gloomy, but they had witnessed some fabulous slugging by Mickey Mantle. For the 3rd game, the scene shifts to New York and Yankee Stadium. From the days of Babe Ruth, this has become a traditional setting for baseball's classic. In 37 years, there have been 23 World Series played here. Among the early arrivals is John W. Galbraith, personable president of the Pirates. He's joined by general manager Joe L. Brown. They radiate optimism, and so does Pittsburgh vice president Tom Johnson. This 3rd game will be an all-southpaw duel. Vinegar Ben Mizell will start for Pittsburgh, and Whitey Ford, a veteran of these pressure events, is Stengel's choice. It's appropriate that Ted Williams, one of baseball's all-time stars, should toss out the first ball. Whitey Ford cuts loose with his first pitch to Verdon, and the bid for the series lead is underway. With runners on 1st and 3rd and 1 out in the New York half of the 1st, Bill Skowron bounces a single to center field, and Bob Serve scores to make it 1-0. With Mantle on 3rd and Skowron on 1st, Mizell can't find the plate. McDougal walks on 4 pitches, and the bases are loaded. Clem Levine is summoned from the bullpen as manager Murtaugh decides to make a pitching change immediately. The Bucks are in trouble with the bases loaded and only 1 out. Elston Howard swings mightily and sends a little dribbler down the 3rd base line. It's good for a hit as well as a run. That still leaves the bases loaded with eager Yankees as Bobby Richardson strides to the plate. Bobby fouls off a pitch, and the count goes down to 3-2. But there's no foul on the next one. He smashes a hard drive to left field, and Savoli goes back, but he doesn't have a chance. It's a grand slam home run for the littlest Yankee of them all. Scoring Skowron, McDougal, and Howard ahead of him, and the New Yorkers lead 6-0. The Bombers congratulate the Mighty Mite, who hit one other home run back on April 30th. It's a mighty quiet Pittsburgh bench. With one out in the Yankee second and Green pitching, Mantle tries to shake up the Pirates a bit, attempting to steal third, but the Bucks aren't napping and he's out. Smith to Hope. Billy Burton crashes a double off the auxiliary scoreboard in right center to lead off the Pittsburgh fourth. It's the first hit off Ford, but the Yankee lefty remains unruffled and unscored on. In the Yankee fourth, with Ford at third, Mantle meets one of Green's pitches with another of his whip-cracking swings. The ball streaks for the left field stands in a sudden hurry, and Samoli gives up the chase as it sails on into the visiting bullpen. The Yankees lead 8-0. Mantle is hard on the heels of Babe Ruth's World Series record. After a couple of more hits, Green heads for the showers, and George Witt tries to stem the tide. Another hit follows, and for the second time, Richardson steps to the plate with the bases jammed. Witt is set to pitch. Does, and Bobby lines the ball into left field for a single, scoring Skowron and McDougal to give the Yankees a 4-run inning and a 10-0 lead. And for little Bobby, it's another record. With one out in the Pittsburgh ninth, Dick Grote is retired on a hard smash, Skowron to Ford. With 2 on and 2 out, Ford's shutout suddenly is in jeopardy, but not for long. Samoli strikes out, and the Yankees win it 10-0. Whitey Ford has pitched New York into a 2-1 lead in the series, and the Bombers appear irresistible as Bobby Richardson joins the ranks of his power-hitting mates. The Yankees have an edge and are eager to press their advantage in the fourth game. The team picture makes a handsome cover for the New York program. Mickey Mantle flexes his muscles before the action begins. Law and Ralph Terry are the fourth game starters. In the Yankee half of the first, Bob Cerv greets Law by dropping a looping single into center field on the first pitch. Law pitches to Kubek, who lines a double to left field, and Cerv gallops to third. Samoli throws to second, but Tony slides in safely. In just 3 pitches, Law is in deep trouble. With 1 away, Mantle is purposely passed. That brings the dangerous Yogi Berra to the plate, who tops a slow ground ball down to Don Hoke. Daringly, Don decides to go for the double play. He tags third, and then unleashes a throw to first base. Dick Stewart stretches. It's close, but the umpire calls Berra out to complete the double play. Law has pitched himself out of a jam that for a few moments looked like the start of another typical Yankee rout. In the Yankee fourth with the bases empty, Skowron takes the first pitch. Then Bill pounds a home run over the 344-foot sign in right field for the first run of the ball game. It was the sort of outside pitch the former Purdue star loves to hit to the opposite field. He now has 5 World Series home runs. With a count of 3-2, Samoli opens the Pittsburgh fifth with a line single to right. It's the first hit off Terry. Here's a pitch to Smokey Burgess, and he pokes a dribbler to Skowron, who tries for a force out at second base. But Somoli is ruled safe on another eyelash decision, and the Buccos have 2 on with nobody out. Now let's get another angle on that play since Kubek is disputing the umpire's call. After 2 out, Law picks on a pitch and bombs a double that caroms off the curving wall in left, and Somoli scores while Burgess halts at third. Law delivers a timely blow and ties the game at 1-1. Verdon, with a 2-strike count on him, bloops a single in front of the charging Mantle. Burgess and Law race home, and the Pirates are out in front, 3-1. After Richardson opens the Yankee 5th with a single, Law strikes out Terry. Bob Serve is also a strikeout victim. Kubek is next, and he too misses a third one as Law fans the side. Bill Skowron blasts open the 7th for the Yankees with a liner down the right field line that bounces in and out of the stands. It's a ground rule double. McDougal drops a pop fly. It's a little single into right field, and Coach Frankie Crossetti holds Skowron up at third as Clemente cuts loose a powerful throw to the plate. Danny Murtaugh talking briefly with Vernon Law. With McDougal on first and Skowron on third, Richardson forces McDougal to Skowron scores. So now the Yankees trail by only 3-2. Blanchard bats for Bobby Shantz, who had replaced Terry in the top of the 7th. Johnny singles to right, and Richardson holds second. The tying and winning runs are now on base as the rally keeps rolling. Murtaugh returns to the mound and once again replaces Law with little Elroy Face. The Pittsburgh relief ace gets ready as Bob Serve steps to the plate with 2 on and 1 out. He promptly hammers a tremendous shot to right center field, and it looks like extra bases. But Billy Verdon is racing across and makes an almost unbelievable leaping catch. It's the sort of breathtaking play that makes baseball a thrilling game for millions. With Jim Coates pitching for the Yankees in the 9th, Don Hope wallops another long drive into the right center field section. And this time it's Mickey Mantle's moment to turn it on. He does with a spectacular running one-handed catch. Going into the last half of the 9th, Face is still battling to protect Pittsburgh's 3-2 edge. He pitches, and Bill Skowron greets him with a sizzling shot down the third base line. It's just a blur of white, but Hope gets his glove down for a backhanded stab and throws the moose out. It's one of the most sensational plays in the series. After 2 out, Dale Long bats for Richardson. He shoots for the right field seats, but lifts a towering fly instead to Bob Clemente, and the Pirates win 3-2. The World Series is all square again at 2-2. Rebounding from 2 crushing defeats, the Pirates depart in a jubilant mood with Vern Law and Elroy Face. Collaborating successfully a second time, they had the pitching along with a miraculous fielding to neutralize the Yankee power. Yankee Stadium is jam-packed for the critical 5th game that will mean the edge for one of the contenders. However, the 2 managers, Danny Murtaugh and Casey Stengel, seem perfectly relaxed. Art Ditmar, defeated in the opener, starts again for the Yankees. And Harvey Haddix, who once pitched 12 perfect innings, goes for Pittsburgh. Ditmar gives up his first hit when Dick Stewart picks on a pitch in the 2nd inning and singles to left field. Somoli forces Stewart, but Burgess resumes the attack with a line double that streaks into the right field corner, and the Bucks have runners at 2nd and 3rd. Don Hope grounds to short, and Kubek tries to nail Burgess going to 3rd. However, McDougal drops the ball while trying to make the tag. Burgess is safe, Somoli scores, and Hoke dashes all the way to second while McDougal is charged with an error. Bill Mazeroski swings on the first pitch and bounces the ball over third for a double. It's the sort of a hit they sometimes call a groundkeeper's hop. Burgess and Hoke score, and the Pirates have jumped off to a quick 3-0 lead. Luis Arroyo replaces Ditmar at this point, and that ends the scoring in the inning. In the Pittsburgh third, Dick Groat gives the Pirates another opening when he leads off by lining a double to left field. The ball caroms around the curving wall before Bob Serve can retrieve it. Dick Groat reaches second base standing up. Arroyo gets 2 quick strikes on Clemente, but then the Pirate star singles to left field. Serve has no play, and the Pirates lengthen their margin to 4-1 as Groat scores easily. With 1 out in the Yankee third, Maris finds a 3-1 pitch to his liking and slugs a home run high into the right field stands. It lands in one of the front rows of the third deck. It's Rogers' second round tripler of the series and reduces the Pittsburgh lead 4-2. Haddix, who has allowed only 3 hits in 5 innings, strikes out Mantle in the 6th. And with 2 out, Elston Howard is completely baffled by an off-speed pitch as he watches strike 3. With 2 Yankee runners on the bases and 1 out in the 7th, Murtaugh believes that Haddix is tired, so Roy Face makes his 3rd appearance in the series. Haddix is generously applauded by the New York crowd. Face smothers the Yankee threat, fanning Maris for the 3rd out. Joe Christopher goes in to run for Burgess in the Pirate 9th. And when Ryan Dunn unleashes a wild pitch, Christopher breaks for third base. He dives headfirst and slides in safely despite Yogi Berra's quick recovery. Don Hoke then drills a single through the middle, and Christopher jogs home with a run that increases the Pirate lead to 5-2. John Blanchard bats for Duran in the last half of the 9th. With 2 out, he's the last hope of the Yankees, but Blanchard flies to Clemente in right field, and the Pirates win 5-2 and take a 3-2 edge in the series. Once again, it was relief ace Elroy Face who wrapped it up. He's been the finisher in all of the Pirate victories. For the 6th game, the World Series shifts back to Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. The Pirates show an eagerness for action as they work out. They need only 1 more victory to take the series. Here is Joe Cronin, American League president. He's no stranger here, having once played for the Pirates. Bob Friend, loser of the 2nd game, will start for Pittsburgh. And Whitey Ford, who's 1-0 in the series, is Stengel's choice to keep the Yankee chances alive. The Pirates take the field for the start of another game in a wild and woolly head-on collision between 2 great teams. In the 3rd, with the Yankees leading 1-0, Kubek goes to first after being hit by a pitch. Maris rips into a waist-high delivery and smashes a double off the right field screen, and Kubek takes 3rd. It was another home run bid by Roger that didn't quite have enough loft. Friend, who survived only 4 innings in the 2nd game, is in serious trouble once more. Bob's next problem is Mantle. He slashes a single over second that tallies Kubek and Maris, and the Yankees are away to a 3-0 lead. Yogi Berra up, and he takes the same center field route with a single. But Mazeroski comes close to this one as he tries for a diving stop. Mantle takes 3rd on the hit. And this brings out Danny Murtaugh. The luckless Bob Friend is removed again as Tom Chaney comes on. After the Yankees add a 3rd run in the inning to make it 4-0, Bobby Richardson pulls a long drive to left field. It sails over the head of Gino Somoli and is in there for a triple. Berra and Blanchard tally to make it 11 runs batted in for little Bobby in the series. It's a new record. In the Yankee fourth, Maris lifts a high pop foul behind the plate. Hal Smith makes a desperate try for the ball, finally spilling over the railing and plunging headlong into the box seats. After Blanchard doubles in the Yankee seventh, Richardson cracks out another triple. This one is off Clem Levine. It drives in his 12th run of the World Series. Each time the stocky 165-pounder hits the ball, it seems to go farther. Whitey Ford checks signals with Blanchard. With one out in the ninth, Samoli singles to right field to revive Pirate hopes of ruining Ford's bid for a second shutout in the series. That brings up Pittsburgh catcher Hal Smith. He grounds to Cletus Boyer, who throws to Bobby Richardson. Bobby relays on to Skowron, and it's a game-ending double play. New York wins 12-0 to tie the series 3-3. Ford's pitching again proves invincible. And so this is it, the 7th and decisive battle in the World's Championship. The fans already are caught up in the excitement. Warren Giles, president of the National League, beams with supreme confidence in his rebounding Bucks. Vern Law will carry the hopes of the Pirates, while the Yankees put their faith in Bob Turley. The Pirates come charging out of their dugout, and the tense struggle is underway. With 2 out in the Pittsburgh first inning, Bob Skinner draws a walk. Rocky Nelson takes a pitch that comes in too low for a ball. Turley takes his time, then with a count of 2-1, Rocky lashes at the next pitch and pulls the ball to right field. Maris retreats to the wall, but it's a vain effort. It's a powerful drive high over the screen for a home run. Bob Skinner scores ahead of Rocky, and the Pirates grab an early 2-0 lead on Nelson's long wallop into the seats. And Stengel isn't a bit happy about it. In the Yankee second with 1 out, Yogi Berra tries to push the ball down the left field line, but Hoke makes a dazzling stop. The spirit of the Pirates is at a high pitch. They're battling on every play. Hoke scrambles back to his feet and throws Berra out. Leading off the Pirates' second inning, Smokey Burgess hits a shot down the first base line. Skowron dives for it, but the ball gets by him for a single. Casey Stengel decides he can't gamble further on Turley and calls in Bill Stafford. With 2 away, Mazeroski is on second, Hoke on third. Stafford struggles to get out of the jam, but Burden singles to right. Mazeroski and Hoke score, and the Pirates move out to a 4-0 lead. In the Yankee fifth, Skowron takes a full cut at Law's pitch for another long opposite field drive. It's a home run into the right field stands. That's the second homer of the series for the Musketeer first sacker, both to right field. It reduces the Pittsburgh margin to 4-1. After Richardson opens the Yankee sixth with a single, Tony Kubek walks. Murtaugh has a long conference with Law. And he finally decides that a change is in order, sending out a signal for Mr. Bullpen Elroy Face. After retiring one man, Face is solved for a single to center by Mantle. Grote's desperate dive for the ball is short of the mark, and Richardson scores while Kubek takes third. Face goes into his stretch, throws, and Berra gets around on the pitch for a high fly ball to right field. Yogi leaps up and down like a rookie as he sees the ball settling into the right field upper deck. Kubek scores first. Then Mantle and the happy Yogi come around to cross the plate. Yogi gets a big welcome from his Yankee mates, whom he suddenly has lifted into a 5-4 lead. But New York isn't through yet. The Bucks take the field in the eighth, as they come storming out of their dugout. Quickly, the Bombers have a couple of runners aboard. Blanchard singles to right center, scoring Berra and sending Skowron to third. Cletus Boyer keeps the rally rolling as he lines a double into the left field corner. Skowron scores, and New York has a 7-4 margin in the final game of the series. In the Pittsburgh eighth, Samoli bats for face and singles to right center off Bobby Shantz, who so far has pitched 5 shutout innings in relief. Pirate fans are hopeful of a typical Buck rally. Shantz checks the runner, and then Bill Verdon slaps a ground ball to short that looks like an easy double play ball. A bad hop, and Kubek is struck on the neck. Richardson comes over to give him aid. It's a bad break for Tony and the Yankees. Slow motion film reveals the sharpness with which the ball bounded up so that he couldn't even get his hands up fast enough to protect himself. Both Yankee trainers rush out to administer first aid. Manager Casey Stengel also joins the group. Kubek wants to remain in the ballgame, but Casey sends him to the clubhouse. Billy Verdon is credited with a hit. The Pirates are driving as DeMaestri replaces Kubek. The game resumes, and Shantz tries to overcome the bad break, but Dick Groat singles to left field, scoring Samoli, while Verdon stops at second. The Pirates have moved into a threatening position again. They've cut the lead to 7-5 and have the tying runs on. Now Stengel is out at the mound. He removes Bobby Shantz, who had hurled shutout ball before luck ran out on him in this frame. Jim Coates takes over and retires the next 2 men. Then Bob Clemente tops the ball for a dribbler towards first. As Verdon scores, Skowron grabs the slow roller, only to find that Coates is also over to make the play. There is nobody covering first, and Clemente beats it out for a base hit. With Groat on third and Clemente on first base, Hal Smith steps to the plate, settles in his stance, and then misses a vicious swing at a high fastball. The crowd is tense. When Coates again delivers the same type of fastball that Smith had just missed, it's a far different story on this swing. There she goes out toward the red brick wall in left center. Berra chasing, but it's gone for a home run, scoring a good 15 feet above the wall near the 406-foot marker. Groat and Clemente leaping up in glee as they reach the plate. The Pittsburgh crowd going wild. And here comes Hal Smith around third base, and a reception committee is awaiting him. The Pittsburgh fans have the steel girders throbbing like tuning forks with thunderous cheers. The Bucks have come back into the lead 9-7. A downhearted Coates leaves the game as Stengel is back to make another pitching change. And Ralph Terry answers the alarm this time and retires the side. The crowd is still in a rather joyous uproar. But Bob Friend, the new Pirate pitcher, gets in trouble immediately when Bobby Richardson opens the Yankee ninth by dropping a looping single among Groat, Skinner, and Verdon in center field. Dale Long bats for Joe DeMaestri and singles to right, and Richardson stops at second. Within a matter of minutes, the Yankees have the tying runs on with nobody out. It's Murtaugh's turn to go to the mound again, and after a brief huddle, he calls upon Harvey Haddix. The slender lefty doesn't work often in relief, but there's a long winter ahead to rest. After Roger Maris is retired with Yankee base runners on second and first, Mantle singles to right center. It's a key blow, for it sends Richardson home while Long storms to third with the tying run, and there still is only 1 man out. The clutch-hitting Yogi Berra smashes the ball down the first base line. And Nelson makes a spectacular stop and steps on first base, retiring Yogi. But Mantle evades his frantic tag and dives safely back into the bag. Meanwhile, the run scores and the game is all tied 9-9. Bill Mazeroski, leading off the Pirate ninth, watches the first pitch for a ball. Terry, very cautious, takes a lot of time getting the signal and eyeing the batter, but here comes the pitch. And there she goes. It's a long one to left field that's heading for the wall as Berra keeps going back, and you can kiss it goodbye. It's a home run for Mazeroski, and the Pirates win 10-9 to become the new baseball champions of the world. Pittsburgh fans waited 33 long years for this. The victory of the Pirates was essentially a team triumph. It was a tribute to their indomitable spirit that they kept rebounding from crushing Yankee bombardments and then finally won it by stealing the very long ball thunder of the Bombers. Even Hollywood couldn't have dreamed up a more thrilling finish, and it came with a dramatic impact that makes baseball unmatched in the world of sports. This is the story of the world champion Pittsburgh Pirates, a film report of how the Bucks brought fame to the Pirate name and glory to the city which is their home. This is your chance to relive the excitement and suspense, the frenzy and action of a season that saw the Bucks win when they had to win, come from behind when the odds were against them. This was the season for thrills unmatched in Pirate history. This is the team that went all the way, the fighting, hustling, dazzling diamond combination that has added new luster to the Pirate tradition. The Pittsburgh Baseball Club dedicates this film to you, Pirate fans everywhere. It was your support, your loyalty, and your enthusiasm which sparked the sensational push of the Buccos to the pennant and then on to victory in the World Series. Even though we can only touch on the highlights, we've linked together a kaleidoscope of action that'll let you enjoy again that summer of '60, the year the Bucks won everlasting fame in the annals of sport. We begin our story on a bright sunny morning, October 1st, 1960. Vern Law and Elroy Face were to go on to World Series acclaim in a matter of a few days. But the business at hand right at the moment was to let the Flashbulb boys get their shots at the pennant winners. The entire team was on hand for the official World Series picture. Every sports fan in the land was talking about this team. The upcoming World Series battle between the Bucks and the Yankees was scheduled to open on this very spot in just 5 days. This pose was to be printed in every newspaper, reproduced on every program, and souvenir from coast to coast, border to border, and around the world. Murtaugh and Brown, with a successful season behind them, were planning their strategy for the big contest coming up. Now meet the stars that made that encounter possible. This is Dick Groat, the team captain and driving leader of the Pirates, showing you proper positioning of the feet and the right way to make the throw. Notice the overhand throw. And here he is in game action as he streaks far to the right and gloves a backhand snap right over to Mazeroski for a brilliant play. Now Groat will again show you, this time more in slow motion, how he keeps his glove up, his eyes on the ball, his feet square. Now the great incomparable combination of Groat to Mazeroski. Notice Groat feeding off underhand to Mazeroski so that he can touch the bag and come straight across. In game action, you can see the way it's played. In slow motion, Dick Groat underhanding on to Mazeroski so that he can get across the bag and throw on to first base and get away from the speeding runner. Game action again, this time feeding it off from Mazeroski on to Groat. And now here's Don Hoke, the Tiger, from third base. His position play is a little different because he's closer to the hitter and he has to let the ball play him. In game action, a high hopper down to Hoke and on to first for the out. Notice the squared stance again and taking the short hop of that ball, the overhand throw, which is so vital to the infielder. In game action again, this time Hoke comes up, starts it on over to Mazeroski in time for the force play there. Now the first base action with Dick Stewart showing you the positioning of the feet, straddling the bag so that he can move either right or left depending upon the direction of the throw. And in game action, he'll make a great play off here. The long stretch, which is so vital on the close play. Watch again the position of his feet. The attempted drag bunt by a dodgy runner. And out from pitcher to first. In slow motion, notice the way he crosses over, continually keeping his eye on the ball. Now to the other side. And the stretch that is very important on the close play. Another scene on the attempt by the bunt. Left fielder Gino Simoli showing you the proper position to get under the ball and make the catch and be ready to make his throw. This time, the application of the same thing by the right fielder Roberto Clemente. Sam Nairn, bullpen catcher, demonstrating the art of catching with Virgil Trucks, fireball pitcher, delivering. That's the famous wig-wag system used by catchers to tell what type of a pitch they want the pitcher to deliver. 3 fingers could be the changeup, 2 is the curveball, 1 is the fastball. Simple signals when understood by the men in uniform. This is the multiple call that you see there and the curveball that came in from Trucks. And now close-up shots of one of the most feared batters in all of baseball, Smokey Burgess. And here he is in game action, bombing one into right center field for a base hit. Roy Face, one of the great pitchers of all time, and of course in a bunt scene. This is Don Hoke and his famous swing. And here's Don in game action. Notice how he stands right in there. This is the high hopper, this time not successful as he forces a runner at second base. Billy Burton, who had a great year defensively for the Bucks and made spectacular plays in the series, bombs into right center field. Roberto Clemente, one of the outstanding baseball players in the game today, lines a drive down the right field line in game conditions for another base hit. Gino Somoli, who had to fill in capably for the injured Bob Skinner. A dead right field hitter. This time pulls it down toward third on a high hopper and is out, as you see. Bob Skinner, who played under tremendous handicap all season long, lashing a drive deep to right. Rocky Nelson, whose big two-run homer in the 7th game of the World Series was without question one of the high spots with that peculiar stance of his. This time the rock doesn't connect. National League batting champion Dick Groth, most valuable player of the National League, going down the right sideline this time, but unsuccessful in his bid for a hit. Mickey Vernon, former coach with the Pittsburgh Pirates, now the manager of the new Washington Senators, slugging Dick Stewart, who has a potential batting average of around .320. Punishes the ball when he hits it normally. This time is out on a close play over there, short to first. Now the Pirate pitchers, Freddie Green, Vinegar Ben Mizell, Vernon Law, 20-game winner, Clem Levine, Robert Friend, an 18-game winner, Harvey Haddix, a spot pitcher, and Elroy Face, the greatest relief pitcher in baseball. And here's Elroy with that familiar walk of his, known to millions throughout the United States as they've seen him come in countless times in World Series as well as regular season play. 69 appearances Elroy made and saved 3 games in the World Series. We'll show you now how he makes the change to the fork ball, hiding it from the batter. In game conditions, coming in now in relief of a Pirate hurler. Frank Osiak, third base coach. Upon his shoulders rest the problems of knowing whether to send the runner on in to try to score, whether to bring him over from second to third, and whether or not the hit and run is on, the run and hit, the safe sign, the squeeze, the bunt, all those signals that he's giving here now. Of course, the Pirates know what the signals are, and these are the familiar actions of a third base coach everywhere. And now Forbes Field jam-packed as we take a look at this baseball activity. A view of Jim Woods and yours truly broadcasting one of the ball games. In one of the more calmer moments, I might add, although there were few calm moments at Forbes Field and elsewhere throughout the 1960 campaign. Dick Groth taking a pitch outside. The mayor and the governor, interested spectators at Forbes Field. Groth bombing down the line and going in for extra bases. The ball played badly by the right fielder as Groth will stream for third. Notice that Osiak tells him to hit the dirt. He slides his in there against the Cardinals. And Kenny Boyer there with umpire Bill Jakowski of the National League. Billy Burden. And into right field for a base hit. This is the game the Cardinals had to win, but did not. Now Groth again comes barreling along with a base hit. A crucial time for the Pittsburgh Ball Club as they were striving to get out in front and get breathing room. Bob Skinner on a flipper out the left side. That's going to be good for some activity on the diamond. The Rock sends one deep to right. Plays like these excited Pittsburgh fans everywhere. And with the ball thrown wildly away, everybody comes in to score. Bob Skinner wrapping one for right field. Back around the time again when the Pirates had to win. And it seemed like they had to win all the time. And this time, as you can see by that familiar trot, it's a home run for the Pirate left fielder. Dick Groth having come in to score, Dick Stewart congratulating him as he crosses the plate. Burden ripping into one. And the Philadelphia Phillies are having trouble. This ball being played badly in the outfield is sending up a merry chase, and you're going to see the inside park home run by the dazzling center fielder, Billy Burden. Buck fans are jubilant once more. The Buccos start on their last long road trip and go first to Wrigley Field. And here you see Billy Verdon cracking out a booming triple. Glenn Hobby serves up a fat one to Dick Stewart. He thinks it might be in there for a home run, then turns it on as he streaks into second with a double. In St. Louis, the Pirates turn aside the Cardinals as Don Hope doubles down the left field line. And then it's on to the famed Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles, where Mazeroski gets a base hit to drive in a run. And Bob Friend chips in with another key blast to put the Buccos out in front. As you see by the score of 2-0. And then it's on to famed San Francisco, where the winds blow a gale to right field. And this is fabled Candlestick Park, cut out of the side of a mountain. Cool breezes prevail here. San Francisco by this time has been eliminated from the pennant race, but the Buccos need to continue winning. A view of Nob Hill over the backside of the left stadium, and notice the wind blowing on the flagpole out there, and on through to the scoreboard, and on out to Hunter's Point, where there's a huge Navy shipyard. With a runner on first, Don Hope batting against Odell. A vicious line drive cuts Odell down. Naturally a base hit, Odell was injured severely and out of action for the rest of the season. Smokey Burgess with a long fly ball to right field. And the runner getting into third after the catch. Then it's back home to Forbes Field in a game against the Milwaukee Braves. A real big one. The Pirates, as you see, trailing 3-1 in the situation, get underway. Don Hope sparks the drive with a long one over the left field scoreboard. And on this day, the Milwaukee Braves were eliminated from the pennant race. Dick Groat hammering a base hit. Pirate runners having a field day against Milwaukee Brave pitching, and the bullpen of the Milwaukee Braves is alive. There's still more to come. Roberto Clemente on one of those patented slow hoppers toward third, and everybody gets in there safely. Dick Stewart finds one to his liking and sends it a mile over the left field wall, and the Buccos have one of their biggest innings of the year. The reception committee of Samoli and Dick Groat, Roberto Clemente greeting Dick Stewart. Forbes Field fans, of course, delirious. Now you'll see the application of Cincinnati and Crosley Field, and a fellow who certainly hasn't had too much credit but has done a great job, Dick Schofield, moving in to take place at short for Dick Groat, who was out with a broken wrist at the time. Schofield ramming a double. Part of the television crew there working away on the game in Crosley Field, Cincinnati. And the Buccos winning 5-3. And now to Milwaukee, where the Pirates are to clinch the pennant, their first in 33 years. Clemente lines a drive deep to right field. Henry Aaron goes back, and you can kiss it goodbye. It's gone for a home run for Roberto. Dick Stewart on the congratulations. There's a long one to left field by Stewart, deep into the upper deck, way out of sight, and the big boy is bombing. The Pirates were to go on to lose this ball game, while down some 90 miles south of them, Chicago was to eliminate the St. Louis Cardinals. And in so doing, the Buccos came on to be the 1960 National League champions. This one is Mazeroski's home run. The desperate leap by the left fielder in vain. This scene to be repeated not too many days distant in the 7th game of the World Series. A view of the Pirate brass, Bob Rice, Tom Johnson and company, as Danny Murtaugh and Harry Bright and Billy Verdon and Dick Grote walk in. They've lost the game, but they've clinched the pennant. Don Hoke comes striding into the locker room. Not much joy here. Bill Burwell, Frank Osiak, Smokey Burgess, Virgil Trucks, and Gene Baker. Dick Barone, reserve infielder, coming in as Dick Grote is now being interviewed, and Bob Clemente being interviewed here by yours truly, along with Diomedes Olivo, as cameramen began to take the action. And it was a very quiet clubhouse for a while. Then all of a sudden it started to break up. This is Bob Skinner talking over the situation about what he might do. Here's Clem Levine, and Frank Osiak decides now it's about time to start pouring water. And Joe L. Brown, the general manager, gets into the act and dunks Osiak, as you see, and Danny Murtaugh is much bedraggled, and here they go. The wild clubhouse scene is getting ready to unfurl as Joe Brown is now getting ready to nail somebody. As he goes by Branch Rickey Jr., Brown gets doused, and the Bucco clubhouse with Mr. Galbraith and his son Danny beginning to go crazy. Look at all the water in the clubhouse, and yours truly on television at the time is being drenched. Now the Buccos get together in a group to sing Beat 'em Bucks. Somebody gives them some more water. While we were drying our clothes on the plane back to Pittsburgh, the hometown had worked up a tremendous welcome rally. Over 100,000 sports fans had converged on the gateway where the wildest, frenziest demonstration got into full swing. It was a long wait until the team reached the downtown area, and the parade marshals had their hands full. And when the Bucks arrived, it was a dazzler that will go down in history. Pushing, shouting, shoving, roaring, happiness unbounded. It was the gaudiest torchlight parade this town is likely to see in many a day. The pent-up spirits of an entire city were let loose. As the cars bearing the players rolled by, it was pandemonium. Fans climbed on board, tugged, pulled, screamed, and jumped with joy. As far as the eye could see, it was one gigantic mass of humanity. Men and women, boys and girls, marching bands, majorettes, blaring trumpets, all to the accompaniment of Beat 'em Bucks. If you were there, you know what I mean. As the big day approached for the beginning of the World Series, the city would let go again. This time the steam was to blow off at a giant buck rally in Oakland Civic Center, where young and old, eds and co-eds, little leaguers and big leaguers, plus a huge crew of music makers, dancers and yelling, screaming fans put on a real knock-'em-down, drag-'em-out wing-ding. Space and Smith were in the thick of things. Benny Benak's Dixieland Band never played louder, and the spirit of the crowd went sky high. The next day, the big event would take place, the first game of the 1960 World Series. We'd been waiting a generation to enjoy the fruits of victory. Forbes Field would be jammed with the great and near great of the sports world, and this crowd was making sure that their beloved Bucks would go into battle with the biggest bang-up rally they could swing, and swing they did. Wednesday, October 5th, dawned bright and sunny. It was perfect World Series weather. And this is how it looked at 11:30 in the morning as the crowds converged on the entrances at Forbes Field. The nation awaited the big battle between the pennant winners, and that amazing series, as you know by now, is history. Well, the Bucks went on to win the first game behind Vern Law by the score of 6-4. And then 16-3 was the amazing score the Yankees put up on the scoreboard to close out the first two games at Forbes Field. Over to Yankee Stadium, and Whitey Ford came on to nail down a victory by a score of 10-0, and the Yankees looked invincible. Then it got down to where Law came back in the fourth game to win it 3-2 with Elroy Face saving it. And the Pirates took the lead in Yankee Stadium 5-2 and came roaring back into Pittsburgh, needing but one victory to take it, and it was a 12-0 ball game for the Yankees. And so it set the scene for the wild and woolly finish in the seventh game as Ralph Terry, with a score tied 9-9 in the ninth, is set to go to Bill Mazeroski. There's the drive. It's hit deep into left field. She's going way, way back, and there she is with her fingers crossed, looking for it to go over the wall. Back goes Yogi Berra, and you can kiss it goodbye. It's gone for the game-winning home run, the Bucks are the champions of the world. Mazeroski in utter joy. And what a reception committee awaiting him at home plate. And he just does touch it, as you can see, before he's swarmed under by his teammates and delirious fans that knew no bounds. Billy Mazeroski getting that police escort off the field into the locker room where everybody was celebrating. John Galbraith, president and owner of the ball club, Don Hope, as Joe Brown and John Galbraith hug and kiss each other. Bobby Bragan and Danny Murtaugh and Elroy Face being rubbed up a bit, and here's the very happy Bill Mazeroski. What a trophy that'll make. That's the one that went over the left field wall. Even home plate came in for a little bit of digging up. Fans were looking for souvenirs everywhere. Downtown Pittsburgh at this moment erupting into everything, as you'll shortly see, as the fans outside are just going wild and beside themselves with all sorts of imaginary thoughts as Benny Benack goes at it again. And the boys are pounding it out. The Bucks are the world's champions, the first time in 35 years. A Cinderella ball club that came from behind some 30 times throughout the season with as late as the 6th inning on. And there goes another souvenir. Many things, of course, will be replaced for the ensuing season. The Oakland area around Forbes Field, utter bedlam. And at downtown Pittsburgh, a town gone mad. Traffic absolutely ground to a halt. Yelling, screaming fans roamed the main drag. Papers and pennants floated down from 1,000 windows. One over-enthusiastic fan even pitched her typewriter onto the sidewalk. And so ended one of the most colorful chapters in sports history, the story of the 1960 world champion Pittsburgh Pirates.